far enough. We're not reaching far enough. I like what you said about coming to Joburg to make it. The thing is, access is more in Joburg. Access, and access, what you need is that access or someone that can be able to take you from that array in Free State and pass you through Joburg or pass you around and put you in Cape Town, you understand? So there's that type of guidance for these guys to be able to get to reach. The most important aspect of this thing is reaching. There's someone there that will love a song that I did, and I don't know that person, and that person lives in Swaziland. So if there's one person that loves my song in Swaziland, then I need to get like a connect to be able to go perform there at least once or twice every year. And then, so everything flows, my brother. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Okay.
We need to take, if it's ever going to come with our government infrastructure, I'm not confident, but the internet is there for that, The more people, because in rural areas also, like people don't have, or rural townships, sorry, not areas, people don't have internet. You understand? Yeah, sure. Mara, in Jersey, everywhere you go, there's internet. You go to the mall, internet, done. So you get people sitting by the corner there of SABC only for Wi-Fi. I used to work as a security guard. So then he plugs everyone on, So my point is that, like, internet is very important. Well, it is, the industry is going to live on the internet. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Nah, here. So you don't really have to answer because it might be controversial. So in terms of, like you talked about collection societies, are they really collecting? I feel like if the collection societies realize people like you who really understand these, are they actually making it a mission to go to places like you mentioned, Kimberley, Rustenburg, to
Falcom?
Do you think that if they get involved, the situation will be better for artists in terms of knowing the information and understanding the process of actually being developers and artists through what? Do you think they can play a role?
I think if it was to my scope of perfection, there's a lot of places where we lack. For instance, I was in a place in Florida, Florida. Went to go visit a homie of mine. A co-producer, SCHWARZ, I went there. We get into this Shabin tavern, whatever you may call it. By the way, I don't do taverns, but Tuchula. Get there. The jukebox is playing, right? But the jukebox has a picture and a printed out, like titling of track number 1, track number 2. And there's no visual of a sound license, which, okay, we have at the right to play this. So how many of those taverns exist? Before we go into the actual people, how many of those exist? Sharp. And how many of those artists in that community are also getting exploited and exploiting other bigger artists? Understand? It becomes... So my thing is, they should have an officer dedicated, like a specific person dedicated to monitoring that at every single corner money is being made, number one. Before they go out and preach, you understand? Yeah. Let's not preach first. Let's first make sure that our organization is running smoothly, you understand? If I'm Sambro, and if I'm Risa, if I'm Sampra, let's hire agents. As much as we want DJs to have DJ licenses. Did you hear the story about DJ licenses? To Yabosha if they find replaying. So let's stop that. Let's focus on making the money first so that these agencies can not be selfish when it comes to especially paying the artist, like, I don't know, I don't want to talk about that much, but we start with the basics. Monetary value comes in, every single track, is listed. I was playing, a friend of mine was playing at a show in Mnet, Heat Refresh or something. He's playing there. After he played, he had to write down all the tracks, Ideally, you should also have ISRC numbers accompanying that so that they can be a collection shop, because that's what they are, collection agencies. But if they're not doing enough to collect, then how are they going to be able to reach certain places? Because that particular officer can also be the same person that's also a scout in an essence, you understand, to be able to see, okay, a place like this, in our South African economy, the music industry, it's non-existent. In arts and culture, You know, there's so much, dude, that is happening behind the scenes that kind of like also infiltrate. Because I can't sit here and say Samro hasn't tried. It has tried. Unfortunately, the people that dictate the rules, you know, these CEOs that are also lawyers that know how to, if you are a lawyer, I mean, if I'm a lawyer and then you come sign to my record label, the amounts of clauses I'm going to use there, my boy, I'm going to bury you, you know. So it's stuff like that, man. Like, we need to change the infrastructure, have younger people play a big role, you know, because I believe if everyone plays their role, it's going to feed into these organizations, and then these organizations are going to be able to do their work better, you know. And also the people that get these tenders sometimes don't really do the job, you know. I'm not going to mention any names, but I once went to a seminar, right, where they're supposed to teach us about the stuff. But the thing ababeke phambili is them playing as a party after 5. So the conference starts at 12. Bruh, I skipped school for this. I'm still a student. Going to learn about the music industry, la 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 la. Get there. These DJs, what DJ are famous. Yeah. When you make a song, okay, that's the first lecture. Sharp, another lecture's happening over there, and then Kulma music industry. But all they said was that you should register with Samro. And at that time, you register on the Samro. It was impossible. There was no internet. Yeah, you must register with Samro, and then they'll pay you your rights. That sentence is it's very vague. You understand? You're there to learn, but no one is actually explaining the depth of it. There's no notes after the show. Then 4:30, say, Ashaya, let's go for a quick recess. And then they start moving the equipment, and then they make a party. But Samro gave them a budget of like, let's say maybe, or Sampra, whoever, gave them close to 500K. But the money is gone. They went to go party and sleep in fancy or BNBs, chat store and stuff like that. Yeah, well, so I'm fine. It's not only the collection agencies that are wrong, you know. Like the other week I was watching the dispute between, you know, the guys from Trompies. Yeah, man. So they have been struggling to collect some royalties from agencies like Risa Audiovisual in specific. So there was a case that was created. It was actually on YouTube, you know, and they started discussing it. Since ekala ku music industry, like akakatholi imali for ama music video. Dude, we grew up on those guys' music. But the agencies are not paying, and they're not being transparent, you know. That's where the PIA Act came in. We have to give that person the information, because the rule is that if your song was collected for 3 years ago and you didn't come claim, it's no longer yours. It falls back into and then it pays the employees for some bonus. It's bad, dude. So I don't want to talk about this because I was on blacklist. Illuminati of South Africa.
I feel you on that one, but thank you for that information.
Yeah, it's about.
You know, so coming back to Vitamin D, right? As a record label, you know, with all the information that you have. So in terms of distribution, I heard you talk about distribution a lot. Are you guys sourcing out distribution, or are you figuring out a way of actually self-distributing yourself?
Look, I'm distributing now.
Yeah.
I own another company. It's called White Noise Distribution, right? So it also distributes for Vitamin D recordings in perpetuity. Ne? Okay. You know what the word means? Forever. So even if I sell it to you guys, it's a total, they have 5% or 2% or whatever percent. Yeah, man, I've worked with quite interesting artists. Amongst others is your Cat La Cat, your TCIYF is a rock band from Soweto. Others I can't name, unfortunately, because there's also Umteto that I signed, took a non-disclosure. DJ Buhle and so forth, you know, like I can mention about Black Villain. Yeah, man. So I started offering that on the back end because that's the first part I needed to figure out. And I needed to make it make sense to the other person that's coming to distribute through me, you understand? Can be any genre. Also on the label, we also take, on that distribution platform, we also take guys from within the label, because as an artist, sometimes you're so creative, you can do other genres. Like we have a guy called Tenero, like he also does mapiano and afro, mnandi leyasekasi leyana, yabo. So because the format of the record label is predominantly deep house or house, sometimes they go into hip hop and all of those. That's their passion. So we also provide a platform for them to get close to 90% of the, without having to work with the label, because the label has its own rules, you understand? Oh. So Vitamin Deep Recordings is a standalone. It's a company standalone with individuals that are co-running the brand. It's a lifestyle, yeah. Watch this space, a lifestyle. So I'm Andy's with Vitamin Deep. Watch out. And then, yeah, so the distribution aspect is basically handled by me, because it also helps to pay the bills, keep the lights on. So mangibhadala ama royalty lapha after 6 months. Ntwana bamba nightly, but thank you.
Nice. Yeah, so when I speak to a lot of people in the house, industry, there's a lot of a sentiment about South Africa being like a melting pot of house music.
Yeah.
And we're exporting a lot of our own house music, to different record labels overseas. Do you feel like that partnership to be respected that internationally is an advantage for us? Before you answer, because I'm coming, a lot about the music industry and people giving away their copyrights and leasing and something buying. So I don't know if these record labels are actually buying the copyrights or leasing the copyrights. So do you feel like having that relationship internationally and to be known as a melting pot helps in terms of the house industry in South Africa growing? Because if you look at other genres, for example, like hip hop and other genres, they don't really maintain like house does in South Africa.
Yeah. There's a consistency with house.
Yeah, with house music, it never, it keeps on just rising.
Yeah, it never stops. Yeah. Hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah, hip hop goes down.
Casper wins out.
Check it out. So do you think that relationship with international helps to maintain house music in South Africa?
Hey, it's a tricky question, because it's like almost like a double-edged sword. Yes, it helps to export your brand outside, but at the same time, it also helps to have knowledge of what you're doing. As I said earlier, for me, that's the most important thing ever. Because some of these labels, as I said, and look, we know it's out there. Like once someone posts, once an artist goes on Facebook and says about this label, it's there. I'm not speculating. It's not from me. It's from social media. I read it on a post. Yeah, well, so it's not me. I don't know. I'm not divulging information because I know it. What I know is this: 99 years is too much for you to get 500 euros. You understand? And then out of 500 euros, there's no percentage that you're getting after that. You understand? It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because let me tell you what happens, right? There's different laws in different countries in the music. That's why we have different collection agencies internationally as well. Some liaise with SAMRO, actually. Most of them, through, okay, your song played in Russia. They'll collect there and then pass it on to SAMRO, and then SAMRO then hence distributes to you as a composer. Understand? Sharp. Now, there's pockets in the music industry. As much as we have, let's say maybe, how many radio stations do we have? Campus radio stations. We have a lot in South Africa. Now imagine a place like UK, for example, the United Kingdom, in its entirety. How many, small radios are popping up? How many actual ABs are alone? It's a melting pot of stations, Nakona, So your song is playing sometimes at stadiums. You understand? And it pays according to that. So, okay, now you're leasing out your copyright. You're leasing. You're not aware of publishing, the publishing side, which is the other 100%. You're not aware of this, right? When ufuna le 5,000 on the digital one. So there's trickery that gets used sometimes, because since you don't know and have that knowledge, and you're not knowledgeable at all, in those pockets, some of the money gets left there and never gets collected. Yeah, well. So if you're gonna go international, my advice would be there's a platform that got recently launched. It's called Jaxta, Jaxta. Ne? They collect as well on your behalf. You can assign your rights to them, and then one of collect on your behalf, and then they take their percentage, and you take your publishing percentage. Because in physical sales, maybe or in actual sales and streaming, you might not make money overseas, but in publishing, you can, especially if your song is placed in the right position, into the right media stream or market. You understand? So yeah, man, it's a risk. That's why I said it's a double-edged sword. You need to know what you're doing before you send your song to. Because hey, man, 99 years was But that guy is whoever that conglomerate that owns that copyright is forever going to make money because it can be used in 20 years time. This might be the music that we hear on in Lama show, these classic shows, these new age shows that are on Netflix where they play classics from back then, that copyright has already surpassed. And then it doesn't feed your kids because you never really knew what you were doing. You just sold your copyright without realizing it. Now your song is on a movie. And your kids gone. You understand? So just know what you're doing. You can sign wherever. The world's your oyster, man.
No, I like that advice. So, as a DJ, right? In terms of getting into the industry, let's say there's a kid at home who's looking up to King Shwazi and he's like, I want to be like King Shwazi. It's probably high school or maybe primary school. What is one thing that you would, impart? What is some information or some wisdom that you would tell them to understand? We talked about the information and understanding the industry, but just their mentality in terms of the music industry. What's one thing that you learned that you would tell a young kid who wants to walk into on your shoes?
Okay, I'm not going to use me as an example now because number one, as a grown up, as a grown up, I would say, look, study towards what you love. Study towards it. Understand the workings of you being a DJ and understand the sphere that you're in. Because the time I started DJing, I don't know, all you needed was 2 songs to play with each other, 3 or 4 songs. You needed to know how to mix. But in today's world, in order for you to progress, you need to understand the basic etiquette of production. You need to understand what there's a speaker, and how it works. You need to understand how the song works. You need to be in the business behind it, basically. So study towards, it can be sound engineering, like I will newbie and I will G select, you understand. Just study, where soups, study towards it. And because I don't believe there's a sole DJ course. Is there such a thing? You just learn how to DJ. Like there's more offerings at these colleges. They don't just offer you DJ. After you're done with the DJing course, then you get your certificate. Then what? Now you're gonna go to a club. Basile. And then what's gonna happen there? What if the venue actually needs lighting? What if the venue needs speakers? The equipment that you're gonna play. Be more knowledgeable about the equipment that you use, and be more knowledgeable about the music. That's the only advice I would give up and coming DJs, just be mindful of the environment you're in. There's vocalists, there's this, there's that. Just study music in any way, yeah.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, you sound like a very multi-skilled person and you like learning different skills. Is there other skills besides the music that you have that might be an advantage towards your music career?
Yeah, look, I know how to, do like basic stuff. I would say like advertise, a small part, or rather I would say, a small part of my other moniker, which is my name, does dabble in, your programming, your design, and your working in agencies, basically forming relationships. Because the very same people, mind you, that we work with also do advertisements for, festivals and shows, you understand, like your Spring Fiesta, for example. We don't know what agency that is. You understand? Like, I'm just ngiyabekisa nje. So you can find I work there. Yeah, one. So now I have a connection. Okay, I can just one. So everything, yeah, as I said, is intertwined. But yeah, it works to an advantage because it helps me to form necessary connections without having to prove myself on the DJing thing or the what. I can go straight to the source. It's like knowing the manager of like a radio station at the SABC or Metro. Hey, I can stay demo. Yeah, you know. But you're a DJ, but you're also working at the SABC. You do cleaning, for example. Yeah, you know, the cleaning tender is yours. Yeah. So yeah, man, any career, if you're just within the right scope, so right. Yeah.
Nice. Nah, this is a beautiful conversation. I'm actually learning a lot, so I don't want to really, make it this long because people are gonna miss the information. But just getting back to Vitamin Deep, what are some of the projects that you guys are working on? What should people go and actually interact with right now? Is there any new music coming up? Any artists that you just signed, or they're gonna release some packages?
I don't sign artists. I sign the copyright. Yeah.
Like
So
that.
okay. So there's upcoming material. Like I'm working on a track with Jazz Montage and a guy called T Drum from Soweto. So he's just added a new perspective actually to the track. It just became more interesting. I couldn't play it today, like it wasn't, yeah, I thought about it on stage, but yeah. And then we just dropped recently there's the track number 3 and track number 4 come from an EP by a guy called Donald Tech. He just dropped now. When was it? Month end, actually, it was the 30th or 31st, was on a Wednesday. So we normally do our drops on Wednesdays to give the DJ enough time to buy the music and then prepare for the weekend. You understand? So yeah, Donald Tech has just dropped his EP. It's called Unpolished. It's a 2-track EP, lovely EP. And then looking previously before that, we had a guy that released, his name is Epic Soul Star. He released a 3-track or 2-track EP as well, yeah. And before that, we have In the House, which is our annual compilation. It's like, I limit it at 8 tracks. I compile it and I limit it at 8 tracks because I believe anything beyond 8 tracks is a waste of copyright. Yeah, like you said about this video. Yeah, so 8 tracks, effective tracks, my selection, bumper pack, right. We just dropped that. It's volume 3 actually, and volume 2 still available from the previous year, July as well, So yeah, those are the current projects that are out as I counted them backwards. Yeah. So just go type Vitamin Deep Recordings. Everything is just in your face. It's on Google. It's everywhere, man. Watch our moves, If you like what we're doing, share it, let your homies know, let your homies support.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Nice, beautiful work that you guys are doing. Actually, speaking about T-Drum, right? This is a song that I actually played. Very, very jazz mix, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song is too much.
That guy, man.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
so where to it?
Yeah, I think I played that song more than like 10 times yesterday. I was like, whoa.
6 times.
Yeah, there's beautiful music that you guys are making. I appreciate you coming through. Appreciate your set. People are gonna see your set. Appreciate you actually sharing so much information. You really, an encyclopedia, if I have to say that, or a Google. You understand the music industry.
One day.
You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that you're actually showcasing talent where you're from. That's a big thing for me. And giving people opportunity and learning more from the industry. What are some last words that you wanna leave the people with?
If you're out there and you're watching this interview, right? What I would ask from you, especially if more so you're just a supporting act and you're not you're not a DJ, you're not a producer, you're not an artist in essence. Support your fellow man, let's support the artists, guys. Let's stream if we can, let's go on Bandcamp and buy those songs to be able to, help them to keep the lights on, because what they're doing for us is very important. You know, without music, there is no existence, and we can't keep losing artists. We can't keep losing artists. The artists are our friends, you know, they're brothers, they're sisters of ours. Try to get involved. Even if your sister is singing, you know, and her music is out there, try to get involved, you know. Let's not let's support each other more than anything. Let's support, because we as artists support you guys using the music, you know. It's the one that makes you spend the money in the club. Yes. So spend it on us as well, you know. Just thenga le ngoma, man. We'll be right. It's 9 rand like iTunes. You know, and download it on your phone or stream it if you can, you know. Publicize, push your fellow man. We're losing a lot of artists that have great talent because they become disheartened, and we can't afford that, you know. So yeah, man. And for artists, keep on keeping on, guys, you know. It's not an easy road, but we're all there, we're all fighting. I have my battles with the music industry, and you know, yeah, we're trying to save villains here and superheroes at the same time, so that we can have a music industry, you know. The music industry can only be formed if we support our people. Just like a soccer tournament or soccer match, you know. You need to show up for the games so that those soccer players can get paid, even if it's a small team. Yeah, I won. Injalo le nto le.
I love it. So just where can we catch King SCHWARZ? Socials, you know what I mean? Instagram, Facebook, Vitamin D. If you can just let the people know, you know.
King SCHWARZ. So it's King. The first King on Facebook, actually, since 2008. Let's go argue. KING and then space, not underscore, space, SCHWARZ, like SCHWARZ. And then on Instagram it's K.O.S_DJ. So King of Spades DJ. So I'm telling that. But anywhere you search, man, you'll find me. I'm findable.
Oh, thank you very much for your presence and your time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for the platform, bro.
Yeah, learned so much from you today. You know, your conversation. You know, I wish I could pick your brain some more, but I feel like if we make it too long, people are gonna miss the message.
Yeah,
we're definitely probably gonna have a part 2 where, you know,
I say my son drive Mac.
You already know. You know.
Malika Nubian.
You know what I mean? Thank you very much for coming through, bro. That's it for today. You know what I mean? This is gonna be one of those that you have to watch probably 3-4 times for you to learn from it. You know, you can just skim through it. You know what I mean?
Whether you're in hip hop or you're in jazz,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know, you're gonna learn something from this one. So thank you very much again. You know, I'm the Samsung Goma, and we are out. You know what I mean? Thank you very much. Away. Yeah.
You put me in. Did it right. You put me in. Did it right. You put me in. Did it right.